Hello and welcome to this video tutorial. Today we're looking at creating an editable effect where lines are joined to each other with rounded edges rather than just being intersected as normal. This is, as I said, a fully editable effect. We're going to start with a new file. I'm going to create something that's 1000 pixels by 1000 pixels. You can create yours whatever size you like. You can work with any stroke size you like. I'm just using a pink stroke. Let's go and select a line shape and make sure that this reads shape here. So no fill here and whatever stroke color you want. The line width you can set to be whatever you want it to be. So I'm going to start with a few lines here. Let's just show the layers palette and just make sure that everything is going onto a new layer. We absolutely want that to be the case. We don't want to add things to the same layer. So if you find that Photoshop starts doing that, stop and make sure that you create a brand new layer each time for your lines. Now I'm also going to add some circles. So I'm going in here and select the ellipse, just making sure that I've still got one shape per layer. I'm going to start drawing in some ellipses. I'm doing this with the Shift key held down so that I actually get circles. So let's go and see how we can make all of these lines intersect with each other with those nice little bended edges. To do this, in the Layers palette, which of course you can get to by pressing Window and then Layers, you're going to click the topmost layer, hold down the Shift key, click the last layer, and then you're going up here to Filter and choose Convert for Smart Filters. You won't be able to use the filter we're about to use on this document unless you do it this way and convert it for smart filters. That's also the secret to making this effect fully editable. So with this smart object layer selected, you're going to filter and then other and then maximum. Now the maximum filter works by, at this stage, hiding everything. That's because I've got such a large radius. If I start to bring the radius down, you'll see that the lines start appearing and those little bended edges start appearing first of all. The process that is involved here actually makes your lines thinner. So if you look at this and think, well, yeah, I've got the bendy edges I want, but I wanted my lines to be thicker. Well, that's easily solved. What's happening here is we've got this embedded smart object, so we can just double click here to open up the smart object. We can go and reselect everything and increase the stroke weight. So I was at 21 pixels. I'm going to set this to 32. So everything's a whole lot thicker. To update the underlying object here, this is the embedded smart object. All we're going to do is close it. Click the close button and say yes, we do want to save it. And when we come back into Photoshop, you'll see that lines are thicker this time, probably too thick. So let's double click to reopen our maximum filter and let's go back to working on the radius, and in this case I want the radius to be a bit higher. Now if you again look at this and think still not right, well, let's go and do it again. Double click on the smart object layer. This time I'm going to float this smart object layer here, and I'm going to move the underlying document here to where I can see it more clearly. So now coming back to our embedded smart object, everything is selected here. I'm going to increase this to say 40 pixels. And now instead of just closing this document so that this one is updated, I'm just going to save it. So go to File and then Save, and of course that is also Control S. As soon as I do that, you'll see that this document is changing. So we can go back to this filter here and we can adjust the values. So this can be done in a sort of live manner where you're sort of working on one document, then coming back potentially to have a look at the embedded smart object and do something different with it. In this case, I'm actually going to change the colors involved. And again, press Control S to save this file, and you see that the underlying file has changed. You can also do things like move things around. So in this embedded smart object, I can go and change these shapes around, move them around. I can change their size if I wanted to. And again, all I need to do is to save this embedded smart object with Control and S, and the whole of the document is updated. You can add shapes, you can move them around, you can do all sorts of things with them. Now you might also be wondering if you can change colors. You can, but the result is not going to be exactly probably what you think. So I'm just going to come in here and select one of these shapes. Let's just go and select this shape and let's change its color. And then let's update the file by saving this embedded smart object. And you'll see you've got these rounded edges, but they're not quite as good as you perhaps might want them to be. But that's just showing you that it is possible to have different colored shapes here, but you will find that the bending edges don't perhaps look exactly the way you want them to look. If you like carefully researched content like this, clearly presented in a step-by-step format so that you can get great results, then you'll love my Skillshare content. I'm a Skillshare top teacher. I have hundreds of short courses on Skillshare that you can access along with thousands of other great courses, all for the price of a single subscription. If you're interested, there's a Skillshare coupon for you in the description below to use to sign up. Using this coupon benefits me as a creator, and it helps me continue to make free content available here for you also on YouTube. Thank you for joining me for this video tutorial. On the screen now, you'll see a video that I've hand-picked for you. If you enjoyed the video you've just watched, I know that you're going to really enjoy the one I've picked for you to watch next.